Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. And we are back with Nadine Zeinoun. Excited to have her here as a coach, again, emotional intelligence and leadership coach. And she wears many hats. We're going to talk to her today about all the coaching she could do, all the places and ways she can help you. And yeah, she hails from beautiful Canada up in Ottawa, but she's working with people all over the world. How are you today?
Great. How are you, Jill? It's
Great
nice to be
pleasure.
here.
Pleasure to meet you. I'm glad you're in our Zoom room today. Also, just want to make sure, perfect, everything's good over there. I want everyone to be able to reach out to you. Let's start off by telling us your contact information, please.
Okay, so my website is nadinezeinoun.com, which is Nadine, Nadine, and Zeinoun is Zeinoun.com. So if they want to book a call or see anything, watch any podcast or video or whatever, they can go to my website and they can find everything over there.
Great. And I know this is not our first time on the show, but the first time in our room. I got to find out a little bit about you. And I think it's important for our
Sure,
listeners too. I know you're an
sure.
award-winning marketer. You have a lot of expertise. So please tell me a little bit about you before we begin.
Okay. Okay, so originally my background is in pharmaceuticals. So I used
Hmm.
to be a manager in a pharmaceutical company, so Merck and Co. And
Yeah.
I was there for a long period of time. And then I made a shift in my career. So I went into emotional intelligence and coaching and conversational intelligence. And I must say it was a lucky day for me when I left the pharma and went into this new journey because really I found myself in this journey and I really enjoy helping people and supporting them. Mainly, I work with leaders, so supporting leaders to develop their emotional intelligence and become more effective leaders in their organizations.
Perfect. Now, again, I know you've been here before. You've talked about the work you do. Would you mind just sharing a little bit about this type of work for corporate leaders and the benefits
Sure.
of it to help them? Share really a little bit about what you do.
Sure, of course. So I work with either corporate leaders one-on-one with the leader himself or herself, or I work with the team. But in both cases, we work to create a more harmonious and efficient team that is happy, that is really committed and engaged, and they want to give their best. So I support the leader in developing themselves in their emotional intelligence and conversational intelligence so that they can build this team, or I work with the team together so that they can be more, they know how to understand each other, how to work better together, how to engage better together so that they can really get the best results they want for the business and for the team.
I love it. I love it. And by the way, also I was reading, you had some serious obstacles in your life that we all have had obstacles, right? That kind of make
Yeah.
you who you are. But you said you had an issue with the job back in 2010, but
Hmm.
and as a successful brand manager, what that meant, what happened, and how did that change your mindset?
Yeah. Yeah. That was actually the first that was the first knock. I had to knock on the door of emotional intelligence, and that was when I needed it myself as a
Yeah.
leader. So, so being a brand manager, you're just managing a brand, and you're working all on your own. So you control everything. It's easy for you to do that. And then I was like given this position where I had a team, and I was actually managing 8 people in a team, and and that was a big problem for me because I wasn't knowing how to connect with them. I wasn't
Hmm.
really understanding them. I thought that they, functioned like I do.
Yeah.
So I assumed that, and that's how I worked with them. But then I learned the hard way that this is not the way to go.
Hey.
You really have to understand them. You really have to connect with them. Each person is different, etc. And that's when I started working on my emotional intelligence. But it was hard. It was hard at the start, because um, it was kind of like facing failure for a
Yeah.
start,
Hmm.
after being a marketeer, award-winning marketeer, and then coming here and seeing, okay, I don't know how to work with these people. That was like a big, big hit for me and for my ego, I must say.
Of
And
course.
yeah, I suffered. It was frustrating at the start. And that's why I can really understand leaders in the position where their people are not committed, their people are not engaged, they're not really giving their best, they're not taking initiative. So I can feel what they felt because I was there
Yeah.
and I know how painful it is
Uh,
to be in such a position.
Absolutely. So now you're helping those optimize communication, building trust, and of course, transforming, as you say, disengagement to empowerment. What did you have for us
Exactly.
today? What did you want to share with us?
If you want, we can talk about not only emotional intelligence, but more on how to build trust with the team,
Mm-hmm.
because I think that's like the essence, and that's like the first step of of if you want to have a harmonious team, you need to be really good in building trust with them. So
Mm-hmm.
we can talk about trust
Sure.
if you'd like.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I want to say about trust is that, I mean, Jill, I know you know many people, but I want you to think of those who you trust. Okay.
Oh,
So
yeah.
how is the relationship different?
Oh, you're right. There's only a handful of people that I trust. It's different. I just there's no fear. No, I speak my mind. I love those that I trust, but it's hard to come by. Yeah, you just have this open sense of ease and feeling good when you talk to them because you just know no matter what, they have your back. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly, absolutely. So you see this beautiful feeling that you get from
Yeah.
these people,
Hmm.
and this is because trust changes our neurochemistry. So it's not just a feeling that I have with you. It's actually my neurochemicals are changing when I am with you. So I have more oxytocin in my
Ah.
body, and oxytocin, you already know, I'm sure, a lot about it. So this is the bonding hormone. So it creates this very strong bond, but it not only creates a strong bond between me and you, it allows me to access areas in my brain that I cannot access when I'm not high on trust. So I can work better, be more efficient. I can think in a more positive way, see opportunities. So it allows me to really access areas in my brain that I don't usually access. And this allows for very high performance. So that's
Oh,
the essence of trust.
okay. Interesting. Go ahead.
Yeah. So the leader, if the leader really wants to create that team, it's
Hmm.
very important for them to start by creating that trust. And how do we create trust with a team? Simply, you mentioned something about how you're open when you are under trust. So when you're under the effect of oxytocin, you're more open, you share more openly, you give information,
Yeah.
you want to contribute.
Hmm.
So, in the same way, a leader needs to start by doing those things with his or her team so that they can start feeling the trust. So
Mm.
transparency is like the first step towards building trust with the team.
Interesting. All right. I'm ready. I'm ready to learn. I'm ready to learn. Go ahead.
Okay. So so transparency. Let's look at transparency. So what do we
Okay.
mean by transparency? I mean, first of all, a leader, they need to be transparent not only with business things. So if I want to connect with you, Jill, okay, of course I need to be transparent in what I expect from you.
Hmm.
So yeah, I'm going to tell you, Jill, you're here on the job, you're new in the team, this is what I expect. These are the
Yeah.
things I want from you. So first of all is clarifying expectations, which
Okay.
is very important for the leader to have.
Hmm.
But it's not only that, it's also being honest and transparent about how you're performing versus
Okay.
these expectations. So if I sense that you're not on track, if I sense that you might need help, you might need support, it's very important for me to keep that discussion going, that transparency going. And most importantly, it's important for me to be transparent about my feelings.
Okay.
And this is a difficult part for leaders in general. Okay, I don't want to
Yeah.
stereotype, but leaders in general, they more focused on, you know, analysis, logic, facts, data.
Hmm.
So they don't think much about conveying the emotions that they
Okay.
have and what are they feeling. But this is essential for creating trust. And I'll tell you why. Because, if I come to you, Jill, and I just tell you, Jill, go do this,
Yeah.
how would you feel?
Not good. Not respected. Not be telling me what to do is different than asking me, talking about it. I feel like you're a leader and a boss, and you're making me feel so inferior and not good about myself. And it's going to put me on edge and guard. And it's not going to make me happy or do my best work, I don't think.
Exactly, exactly. You're going to be in fear mode. And when you're in fear mode, you're not going to be able to give your best. Absolutely. So, on the other hand, if I come to you and I tell you, Jill, I need a favor from you. really, really stressed out because of this project that I have, and I need some support on some data, and I know you can give them to me. Would you be okay to just, spare half an hour for me today and get these done for me? I'm really sorry I'm putting you under this pressure, but I really have to do this.
Oh
Would
my
you do
gosh,
it?
I'd be so willing to help you, Nadine. I'm here. I'm your wingmate. I will help you. Like that makes me feel good. It makes me
Yeah.
feel good and helpful, and that's so kind. I appreciate your way, your communication skills because not everyone does that, but it
Yeah,
makes such a
exactly.
difference.
Exactly, exactly. So what's the difference here? The difference is, first of all, I'm respecting you as a person and your time.
Hmm.
So that's the empathy. So I'm approaching you, understanding that you might be busy and you might not have enough time for me. So I can't
Yeah.
just push my, deadlines on you. So that's one thing.
Hmm.
So there's respect. There's another thing is I conveyed to you my emotions,
Yeah.
my stress, the overwhelm I feel, or maybe the worry I feel. So you're at the same wavelength of emotion.
True.
And because me and you, I brought you to the same level of emotion, then I can inspire you to do
Yeah.
things with me because
Yeah.
you understand where I'm coming from. You understand my need. And at the same time, you feel respected.
Yeah. I do.
So
Thank
that's
you.
how you create the trust.
Okay.
That's how the leader, it's important for them to approach people so that they can create the trust. So there's transparency about the emotion, there's empathy in that, communication, but at the same time, there is direction. So I am asking you what I want. Okay. I'm not just talking about my emotions and not telling you what I want. So
Yeah.
you are clear on what is it I need. So
Hmm.
does it make sense?
Yeah.
Hmm. So what do
Why
you,
can't
I mean, what's
why
coming to
can't
your
every
mind now?
boss be like you? I've had to,
Have
I've
you
had
had many bosses in
Well,
your life?
yeah, I've worked in the television news business for so many years, and the pressure and the
Yeah.
angst and the it made me so not want to work in the television news business
Mm,
anymore to the point
mm.
where, it was so hard when I stopped working full time. But now it took a while to feel liberated and wonderful that now I work with nice, kind people. Like, why? Why do they have to be so bad
Yeah.
and cruel and mean? It's a simple concept. I have a 6 and an 8-year-old, and I tell my little boys, treat others the way you want to be treated. It's simple, but in the workforce, I find a lot of our corporate leaders are not like that. And it's a
Yeah.
shame. A lot of them have these egos that go to their head or whatever it is. But I like you, I just feel better open communication and kindness goes a long way.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, kindness is key. And this is a key part of emotional intelligence is empathy, which is
Yeah,
kind of like kindness. It's kindness, and not only kindness, kindness is also about the social responsibility, about
yeah,
me giving you without thinking of anything in return. So yeah, I mean, nowadays, unfortunately, we think of leadership like um, it's something where I need to be the boss. I'm coming from, on top. You said something that there's
yeah.
no I make you feel inferior when I come
Hmm.
and throw my, orders at you. Of course. And leadership, good leadership, we know now that it's not about difference in power. It needs to be same power. So me and you need to be at the same level of power, and I need to treat you at
Yeah,
with that, and every behavior that comes from me or everything I say needs to be aligned with the fact that we're at equal power, so that you feel respected, I
true.
feel respected, there's space for you in the relationship, there's space for me in the relationship, and together we can create something much better than each one of us on his own or her own.
I love it. Nadine, remind our listeners how we can contact you, please.
Again, you can book a call with me on www.nadinezeinoun.com, and Nadine, Nadine, Zeinoun, Zeinoun.com. So it's simply my name and then .com. And you can
Perfect.
find a book a call there.
Great. Thank you so much. All right, let's continue the conversation. Go ahead, hon. What else do we have for us?
So what do you when you hear these things about, leadership, uh, challenges of leadership, trust, what comes to your mind? I mean, what are some examples that hit you when you think of that?
Well, I think I kind of touched upon the negative of it, like the people that weren't trusting,
Hmm.
that didn't have good communication skills. But then on the other hand, I can go back in the workplace and think about leaders that were so communicative and so good to me. And that's the job that I can look back and say, I wholeheartedly gave my all and I love that job. And it was such a good work environment. There was such team camaraderie when, like, the bosses were like more like friends and not pompous authoritative figures, but I
Yeah,
think I did a better job. I
yeah.
mean, I really felt more productive and yeah. Yes.
I I love that, Jill. Thank you for sharing that. So you see this experience that you had. This is due to the trust and the
Mm-hmm.
impact of the trust on your neurochemistry and how the neurochemistry changes the way you behave. You see,
Mm-hmm.
you told me I was giving my best. I was doing my best. You were happy doing that job.
Yes.
So you were
Yes.
committed. Yeah. And that's the effect of, the neurochemistry change in you because
Okay.
that leader was able to build that trust with you. So you will behave differently with this. And this is amazing. We say in conversational intelligence, which was created by Judith Glaser, she says, trust changes reality. And
True.
what does she mean by that? It means that if I trust you, Jill,
Mm-hmm.
you might do something to me,
True.
and I will look at it in a very good way. And I would
Okay.
say, oh, Jill behaved this way because so and so, because she's going through this and this. And yeah, I understand her. So I would understand you better. I
Mm-hmm.
would interpret the things you do in a positive way. I would share with you more, as you said.
True.
I would also interpret everything that you do or say in a very positive and loving way.
Yeah.
Why? Because of the oxytocin that's in my body, that's circulating in my body. On the other hand, what happens when we don't trust our leader or the
Mm.
person we're with? That's when you said something before that
Oh,
you told me that when I give you an order or if I'm, autocratic, you would feel like I'm making you feel inferior and you would feel like defensive.
defensive. That's a great word. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally defensive. Yeah.
Again, that's due to neurochemistry. So it's due to the cortisol that is produced when we feel distrust, because when distrust, our brain understands distrust as fear.
Okay.
So it increases the cortisol levels in our body,
Mm-hmm.
and cortisol, the stress hormone. So it stresses us out. It makes us feel like we need to survive. We're threatened and we need to survive. And when I'm thinking in survival mode,
Mm.
I'm not really thinking in thriving mode. I'm just thinking that I want to protect myself. So my focus is on me. So it's a self, I'm looking at myself only. I'm not thinking of the team. I'm not thinking of the organization.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking of impact of others, things around me. A-
Mm-hmm.
And this is because I'm under the impact of cortisol. And in that situation, anything you do to me, even if it's a good thing, even if you want to be nice and you're trying to, give me a positive gesture,
Yeah.
I'm going to interpret that gesture with fear. And I'm going to say, oh, what's behind that? Jill is
True.
doing it. It's a
Yes.
conspiracy theory. There's something behind it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, she's manipulating me or whatever. So I can misunderstand everything, even the good things. Why? It's not
Mhm.
because I'm a bad person. It's
Okay.
just simply because I am under the impact of fear. I'm under the impact of cortisol. And this doesn't help me work in the best way possible and thrive. And it doesn't help me think in the we, the we
Mhm.
centric. You also mentioned that when you were working with that boss who you loved and who you
Mhm.
trusted, you felt like the team spirit. You were working as a team, you were working together.
It's great. Yeah.
Again, that's the cortisol versus the oxytocin. So it's very, very, it's a big impact. It's a
Mhm.
small thing, but it's a big impact on how we behave everyday life and at work.
Wow. So you got me positive thinking here. And this is what you do. I mean, you're helping explain it to everyone. Could you share some examples of the work you've done in the workplace and how it's affected these corporations and business and individuals?
Sure, sure. I'll give you an example, like one leader, for example. So I'll tell you how it happens. So when there's distrust between, the leader and the employee. So like this leader came to me, he was complaining that there was an employee in his team who he felt was totally, totally disengaged.
Mhm.
And he called lazy. So he called this employee, she's lazy. She doesn't care about anything. She just cares about herself. She just wants to do, the minimum and just get going at 5. She is not committed, etc., etc. So he came to me because he wanted to fire this employee.
Okay.
So he said, I need you to coach me on what's the best way of doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And we started, coaching together. And then when he started noticing that, oh my God, this person is behaving that way,
Yeah.
not because she's a bad person,
But
but it's rather a reaction to how I am treating her and
mm-hmm.
how I approach her. And he started noticing how he approaches her differently from the other employees because he has a judgment
Yeah.
towards her. So he approaches her differently. And he
Wow.
started noticing that all these behaviors are actually causing her to fear him.
Oh,
And that fear is making her behave in this way.
wow.
And that was a big mind shift for him because once he saw this and he said, oh my God, it's all because of the way I'm treating her. So
Yeah.
let me change. And he started shifting. Of course, it's not easy. We're talking about it in a fast way. But when we work together to shift that perspective and to try to look at this person in a different way and in a fair way, like he's looking at the other employees, everything shifted.
Wow.
This lady won the best employer of that year after working together on how he should approach her. And
Mm.
it was amazing because she was one of his top employees 1 year later. So can you
Wow.
imagine? Yeah, yeah.
These are great stories. Thank you. Thank you, Nadine. We still got time. Go ahead.
Okay. So would you like what would you like to know? Would you like to know another? Should I give you another
Example. I mean,
example? So again, another example is how you relate to people. Like again, a lot of people come to me because they find that they're not having good relationships with people.
okay.
And they want to better create relationships in the workplace because this is hindering their growth, it's hindering their career path,
Hmm.
etc. So one of the leaders who came to me, she actually, it's a lady. She was very judgmental of people, okay, without her noticing, because she has a lot of beliefs and she has very strong values.
Hmm.
And when we have very strong values and very strong beliefs, one possible side effect is that we may tend to judge people and situations.
Yeah.
So this lady came feeling like a victim, that everyone was against her, and that she was really not treated in a fair way and in a good way, and people misjudged her, etc., etc. Again, after really understanding what's going on and looking at the dynamics, she noticed that the people were treating her that way because she was
Mm.
pushing them away
Yeah.
and she was judging them
Oh,
unconsciously. And these people felt judged. And
wow.
because they felt judged, they felt that distance. And, this would, of course, hinder the trust that they have together. So, again, noticing that she had to work on how to not judge people. How can she be more empathetic? How can she be more understanding? How can she not listen to the assumptions in her mind? Because we all have assumptions in our mind. And slowly, slowly, she was able to shift to connecting better with people and to creating better trust with people. So
Wow.
again, it's all a matter of trust. The
Hmm.
trust you build with people around you, whether you're a leader, whether you're a mom, whether you're just any employee in a company, it's all about the trust that you build with people around you.
Yeah. I love it. Okay, you got me. My positive my mindset has a lot to do with it, but by you talking about the good old days when the good people in my life, the good feeling productive, like there's just a shift, a mental shift in my
Hmm.
mind, which I'm assuming with the people that you're working with and training and coaching, the same thing. You get this mental shift.
Hmm.
And seeing is believing. I mean, it really there's proof in this. My goodness. Right?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
also, I just want to point out, you do offer an initial consultation for someone. Is that a complimentary session to see if
Yes,
you're a good fit?
yes. It is a complimentary session, so they can just go to my website, nadinezeinoun.com, and they can book a call. And this is a complimentary call just to support them in any challenge that they're facing currently in their leadership. And also, there's a very nice a free booklet that they can download,
I
which
saw
is
that.
around building trust. So it's very much around the topic that we have been discussing. So it's 3 key steps to becoming an inspiring leader. And they can just download that for free from the website if they go to the website.
Awesome. And we still have 4 minutes left, so I'm not cutting you short, Nadine.
Okay.
What else do you want our listeners to know about you? What sets you apart as a coach? What makes you unique? Or is there something else you wanted to share? Again, I want to make sure we're covering everything that's important to you.
Okay. So what makes me unique? That's a nice question. I guess, each one of us is unique in their own way.
Hmm.
And a big part of what makes you different is, the story that you've lived. And I can say that, I grew up in the war, in the civil
Hmm.
war in Lebanon. So, like many people my age in Lebanon. So it was tough for us because we saw a lot of hatred, a lot of people were fighting. There's a lot of conflict. And I feel like, now when I think back at those times, I was being prepared for now. So,
Yeah.
because I hated the conflict that I saw, and it really got to me. And I was really frustrated seeing people from the same families,
Hmm.
fight over political reasons. This one sides with this party, this one sides with this party. And then, the families stopped talking to
Yeah.
each other. People stopped connecting. And
Hmm.
I didn't like that. And from the time I was little, I was always, I always used to close my eyes and I used to dream of, one day
Oh,
I'm going to be somewhere on stage supporting people to love each other and helping people to better understand each other and connect better and, resolve conflict in this world.
yeah.
And maybe that's why I'm here today. I mean, that's why, the journey in my life got me here. Now, the most important thing for me is seeing teams get along well together and not have any conflict together and understand their differences and understand how each other thinks and really empathize with each other in the full meaning of the word. And I think that comes from my background. So maybe that's one thing that's unique to me due to my
Yeah.
background and due
Really.
to my experience.
All right, Nadine, remind us again how we can reach out to you.
www.nadinezenoun.com, which is NADINEZEINOUN.com. You can book in a call if you need any support, or you can just download the freebie 3 Key Steps
Yay.
to an Inspiring Leadership.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for being here. Pleasure getting to speak with you, and hopefully we'll connect again. In the meantime, thank you. Hope you have a fantastic week.
Thank you,
And
Jill. You too.
thank you so much for inspiring me today and making me feel more positive. And yeah, I'm to be thankful and grateful. I'm working with good people, and yeah, I gotta continue to add that I have that vibe because you mentioned the oxy. What is it?
Oxytocin.
Oxytocin. I'm gonna Google that. All right. Thank you so much. Have a great day, Nadine.
Have
Thank
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.